Good afternoon, my students and other learners at large. I'm Madam Patricia. Welcome to our today's lesson, which is on data processing. So this is collection, manipulation, distribution of data. There is letters, numbers, graphics to achieve a certain objective. The processing may involve things like calculations, comparisons, decision makings, and other logic to produce required results. The activity of manipulating the raw facts to generate a set of meaningful data which is able to convey some meaning, we can also say, is data processing. So we have the data processing cycle, and this refers to the stages that are involved in converting data into a meaningful information. One is origination of data. This one includes things like collecting data. That is, you have to look at the source documents, time cards, sales, orders, purchase orders, and so on, if you are collecting certain data or such data. So after you collect the data, you need number two to prepare it for data input. So in this, the data is transcribed. You can also sort it to make sure you have the specific data that is needed for that process. Stage number 3 is input of data. This is whereby the data, you make it suitable and handle it in the right way. You use the right input devices. You input it for processing. So the other stage is processing of data. This is the conversion of data to become meaningful. So the data that was collected is entered into the processing stage. It is processed. Then after processing, you can either store or you can project it. So after processing, we have two more stages. One is output of information, which consists of printed, typewritten. You can also have a soft copy output, whereby you can just project it on the screen and so on. So if you don't want to output it that way, you can store the data for future use. So the last stage is storage of data. Now, after that, we can look at data collection. This is the process of getting data from the point of its origin to computer in form of processing. So we have data entry and data capture. So the data entry, nowadays most of the users input data to the computer using keyboards on the PCs, workstations, terminals. If you are using laptop, we normally call a keypad. You use keypad to input data. So that is data entry or data capture. Then we have some stages in data collection. One is data creation, which involves two basic alternatives. You can use the source document, which is the origin document, and most of the data in form of manual script or typewritten documents. So the data is on a clerically prepared source document. Then we have data capture, which is also under data creation. It involves preparing the source document itself in a machine sensible form, so that it may be used as input to the computer without the need of transcription. 2. We have, after creation, we have data transmission. It depends on the method and the medium of data collection involved, e.g., like in carriers or post office to the central point, we use telephone lines to transmit it to the central computer. So you have to look at the transmission method. Then the other one is data preparation. This is the term given to the transcription of data from the source document to the machine sensible medium. 4. Conversion of data from one medium to another. Data is prepared in a particular medium and converted to another for fast input into the computer, e.g., data might be prepared on a diskette, captured on a cassette, then it can be converted to a magnetic tape or magnetic disc so that you can use it when you want to input into the computer for processing. 5. Input. The data, now in a magnetic form, is put into or entered into the computer, subjected to validity checks by the computer program before is processing. 6 is sorting. This is rearranging the data into the sequence required for the processing, and it is necessary for efficient processing of sequentially organized data in many commercial and also financial applications. 7 is control. In all the stages of data collection, control must be established, applied where necessary. In other words, control is usually applied throughout the whole process of data collection. So those are under data entry and capture. So we have also methods of data processing, and in this we have two main. We have manual system and mechanical system. So we can begin with manual system, whereby the data processing activities are carried out manually by human clerks, assisted by some calculating tools like calculators, slide rule, logarithms, and etc. So in this, the transactions are recorded on the source document, which are taken to the data processing department or section. The files are maintained, the files maintained are updated appropriately to reflect the correct image of the business. So in this, you can use the form of ledger cards to store the records, or in filing trays, or if you are using a file, you can also store them in cabinets. So that is on manual system. Mechanical system. In this, the data processing system, whose the activities are carried out by devices operated by human beings. We have the devices examples: accounting machines, cash registers, calculators. So in this, the data is keyed or entered into the machine operator, manipulated by the machine, and the output is obtained in a form of printed document. So this is better than manual system. Then we have electronic system, number 3. In this, the system uses electronic machines such as computers to process data. The data is entered first. It is prepared into machine sensible form. So in such a case, we have the key to disk data preparation method. It can also be used, and the content of the disk are put using read-write units of the magnetic disk. Then the processing is done automatically by the computer under the influence of programs. Now, after the methods of data processing, we can look at computer files. Definition of a computer file: it is a collection of related records that give a complete set of information about a certain item. So we have classification, we have two classifications: logical files and physical files. So we can begin with logical files. Logical files is a type of file filled by the user in terms of what data items it contains and what processing operations may be performed on the stored data item. The physical files. These ones are filled in terms of how the data item found in the file are arranged on the surface of the storage media. Then after that, we can look at the hierarchy of data. And data is organized from the smallest element to the most comprehensive one. So it begins with the bits, which is the smallest one, which stands for binary digits. So after that, we have characters. Characters are formed by a combination of bits. Then after characters, we have fields. Fields are a group of several characters. Then records. Records are made up of several fields. Then a file. A file is a combination of related records. So then after file, it's done when you get a database which consists of several related and integrated data files. So in this, we have the types of computer processing files, and we are going to mention them. We have 1, master files; 2, transaction files; 3, reference files; sort files; backup files; scratch files; history files; and report files. So next time we shall discuss each of files that we have mentioned in this. So thank you for attending our today's lesson.